And I serve as Executive Director of the Surgeon Water Board of New Orleans. Welcome to the campus of the East Bank Water Purification Plant. This morning at approximately 9 a.m., the Surgeon Water Board of New Orleans experienced a problem with its power generation and distribution system. We had a flame to develop in the powerhouse. We lost water pressure. Water pressure dropped to below the regulatory limits. It took a few minutes to determine the extent of the damage, the extent of the impact upon the community and the system. Within about 15 minutes, we were able to identify the possibility of needing a borough water advisory. Working in conjunction with the City of New Orleans Office of Communications, Department of Health and Hospitals, a borough water advisory was issued this morning at approximately 9:45. At this point, we are available to respond to any questions after Dr. DeSalvo makes a statement. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Marcia mentioned, there was a need for the Department of Health and Hospitals and Surgeon Water Board in the city to make a recommendation about a boil water advisory this morning. The water pressure is back up, and there have been samples taken, so we're expecting that will last at least 24 hours from where we are now. And in the meantime, that means that for folks on the East Bank of Orleans Parish, boil water should be taken into effect if you're going to consume water, whether cooking or drinking or using it for brushing your teeth. That means taking water to a rolling boil for at least a minute and letting it cool before you use it. If you've got an automatic ice maker, good idea just to take that out of the ice maker and not use the ice that's in your freezer. You can use dishwashers, washing machines, and if you're going to bathe, it's fine for most people. If you're immunocompromised or have open wounds, it's probably a good idea not to do that unless you do it with boiled water. And for infants and children, bathing them is not recommended until the boiled water advisory is lifted. You can just sponge bathe those kids to protect them. For those of y'all with pets, sort of similar recommendations for pets, and I do want to assure the community that we have been in close contact with hospitals, nursing homes, the hospice providers, amongst others, to make sure that they're aware of the boil water advisory since this morning, and they're taking their usual precautions. Thank you.
Take questions. Go ahead, Jamie.
You said that there was a fire in the power unit?
Yes. Within the power plant, we had a small fire that resulted in the fire was. We use natural gas. Normally, the barrel always has a flame. The flame is normally within the barrel itself. This morning, the flame was outside of the barrel. It was a small flame. That fire resulted in damage to the boilers, and as a result, the boilers were not available to be used. Boilers generate steam. Steam generates pressure, and pressure moves water through the distribution system.
Andrew.
And what is this 25 to 60 cycle? Tell a little bit about what sort of power this plant uses and why.
Sure. In our homes, we use a power system that's 25 cycles. If you go to Europe, you're using 60 cycles. If you go to Europe, you use a power cycle that is something different from 60 cycle, probably 50 cycle. In the early 1900s, the Surgeon Water Board's leaders realized that there was not a standard for power generation and distribution throughout the country. So one of the standards that was available at that time was a 25 cycle power system. That power system was established in 1903. It's used on a daily basis to generate power to power the water distribution system and the drainage system for the city of New Orleans. The reason the Surgeon Water Board has a power generation and power distribution system is because we're all aware that commercial power is basically distributed through overhead lines. Those overhead lines are not available in high wind events or insignificant weather events. So the Surgeon Water Board has over 100 miles of power distribution cables. Those power distribution cables are basically all west of the Industrial Canal and serves the Algiers community also. It's a very dependable system. The system was significantly damaged during Hurricane Katrina. That's one of the reasons why, since 2005, the mayor was able to secure $141 million by hazardous mitigation grant that will allow us to improve and to stabilize that power system. In addition to that $141 million, there's an additional $130+ million that has been infused through FEMA since 2005. So the key is to restore this power generation and power distribution system so it will be reliable for the next 100 years. It's reliable for 100 years, so we want it to be reliable for the next 100 years.
What is the